Hello everyone, I am Chaos Wolf, or just Wolf. You probably saw my run from earlier. If not, hello. This is Turok 2 Seeds of Evil, originally released in 1998 on the N64, and this lovely remaster came out 2017, and this is where the speedrun really took off. Today I'm going to be running the 100% category, where we fill out the inventory screen. I have my commentator here with me, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Yes, hello everybody, my name is Growth Kaze. I am also a Turok speedrunner, or well, I was. I haven't done it in a long time. I have been running pretty much all of the Turoks alongside Wolf over the years.
Okay, then we're going to go new game, and timing begins when we select difficulty in 3, 2, 1. To start off, we're going to spam spacebar just to skip through this cutscene.
Your mission objectives.
And then the first thing you'll notice is that we also strafe run in this game. It's our fastest form of movement. Growth, you would like to explain our objectives for this first level?
Right, okay. So this is the first level of the game, known as the Port of Adia. I'm sure the music tune brings all of you back who have ever laid your eyes upon this game as a kid. Every level in this game has a separate list of mission objectives that you have to complete, and for this particular level, we have to find some power cells to power up some distress beacons that we need to activate, as well as locate some children that are locked in boxes. The dinosaurs did that for whatever reason, I don't really know why, but we have to rescue them. And only once all of these mission objectives are completed can we actually leave the level and advance to the next level.
Yep, and coming up, we've already activated one beacon, and coming up in here is the first child. This entrail, it's kind of like a T-Rex sort of humanoid. We got the pattern where he was right up in our faces. Now, most commonly, he'll be kind of midway on that platform. And then the third pattern, which is a little more rare, is where he's like further back. And that tends to throw me off if he's not in the more common spot, because I usually expect him to be right there. Anyway, so right here I'm going to do a quick save, quick load, and that will remove collision. When I activate this, I can just instantly pass right through that gate. You'll see this quite a bit.
Yeah, most often in this game, the enemies that we decide to kill are often tied to triggers. For example, Chaos is going to kill another entrail that is right up here, that is by a door, in order to unlock that door. This is also where he's going to be grabbing a power cell, which we'll use to activate one of the distress beacons that we need. At this point, we've already activated all of them in the level, so that objective is completely done. Now we just gotta locate the missing children and rescue them, and then head straight for the exit. Actually, no, I lied, because this is 100%. We have additional, or an additional objective in every single level. So, besides doing the mission objectives, there is also a little room called an Oblivion Lair located in every level. You have to enter those and clear the enemies out and collect one of the 6 collectibles located within these rooms. Once you have all 6 of them, you create the all-powerful nuke weapon, which is part of the 100% category to get.
It's useless.
Yeah, it's really bad.
But not for a hardcore. There's some uses for it in hardcore.
That's very true. What the nuke essentially allows you to do is to completely wipe out a room that you may have trouble with, and in hardcore, enemies deal approximately 4 times more damage than on the any other setting, and you also, as the title of the difficulty may imply, you only have 1 life, so it's very helpful in that situation. But for this category, we're not playing on hardcore, so it's pretty bad.
Flashlight.
Ooh, got
Now we're gonna rescue that child and traumatize her for life by jumping off into that death pit so we can warp back out here. And then we just got 1 more left to go.
That is also another piece of tech that you'll be seeing rather frequently in this run. We heavily abuse death warps to just get to places faster. Getting lives in this game is very easy. You can see all these golden little squares that Chaos is picking up. Once you have 100 of them, similar to Mario coins, you get another extra life you can use.
You'd like to explain the ledge grab there?
Right. So, as Chaos mentioned at the start of this run, this is a remaster of the original game released for the N64. The original game did not have ledge grabs. This is a newly introduced mechanic in the remaster. It is executed by doing what he just did, but on ledges, you just jump up to them, and Turok will grab hold of it and pull himself up. And he did a very specific one this day. You might have seen him grab essentially nothing. There is a drawbridge that is supposed to lower at that place, but we can skip triggering that because the collision box for it is already there. So we can just ledge grab it in thin air and skip some movement to get up to the child quicker.
Again, passing right through that gate as soon as the collision drops. We wait here for a moment. I actually was a bit late. You can time that perfectly and get a little bit of more height on the ladder. Now it's time for the catwalking section, which was on N64 when you're playing with that controller. This part was scary.
Oh yeah.
So a free tip from me, you kill any one of those entrails, that gate right there will open up and you can get yourself an ultra health. Very useful if you want to try to complete this game on hardcore. Blow up those 2 to open up that gate. Do a very particular walk. Oh, we haven't mentioned walk-off jumps.
Oh yeah, that's true. So there is a mechanic that some people probably considered a bug at some point, but are perfectly intentional in the Turok games, and that is something that we call walk-off jumps. What it means is that whenever Turok runs off a ledge and starts falling, you have a brief moment where you can jump mid-air. This is used to perform sequence breaks in a couple of areas, in all of the games really, but it was implemented into the game as a failsafe because, you know, platforming in an FPS on an N64 controller, as you might imagine, is, well, not the easiest.
Yeah, and that brief period of time is referred to as coyote time, in reference to Wile E. Coyote, how he just hangs in the air before he drops. Little insider gamer term. Alright, now we're going to come up to the Oblivion portal. I always pop that guy because he will block me every single time as I'm leaving. So I just backed my butt into the switch and opened this up, and now we're going to watch a unskippable cutscene.
quite funny too. This is one of the very few cutscenes in the game that you cannot skip, and there's some technicalities behind it, mostly because this particular cutscene swaps between many different scenes in the game, and for technical reasons, making that skippable would break a couple of things. Worth mentioning is that the original release of this remaster did not feature skippable cutscenes at all, specifically, to my knowledge at least, because of the fear of things breaking. But as we speedrunners grew louder about it, it was actually implemented for us to be able to skip cutscenes later on. Which has been set in motion cannot be stopped.
So, lore-wise, this is essentially where the game gets a name, the Seeds of Evil. These right here are the Children of Oblivion, the Seeds of Evil. Sort of a foreshadowing to Oblivion, the Shadow of Oblivion, the following game.
Exactly. I believe the race is called Flesh Eaters.
Yes.
So just like before, when I mentioned that enemies are tied to triggers, what you have to do in these rooms is essentially just kill everything in order to unlock the exit. It is very much a battle arena. Not all of them require you to kill exactly everything, but this one in particular does. And once we've done that and Chaos can leave, he can pick up the first part of the nuke weapon.
So I didn't do that quite perfectly, but it's fine. I'm going to grab all this because it will affect what spawns here in the arena. We only want explosive shells.
So this is known as the totem defense section. The totem is the large structure in the center of the room. It has a life bar, as you can see by the green bar at the top, and if that one reaches 0, well, you have failed the mission and have failed to protect the totem, so you are not able to get the good ending at the end of the game. But all you have to do is just eliminate all enemies, and you're good to go.
Right, so we do this odd numbers first, so 1, 3, 5, and then 2, 4, 6, for mainly for the weapons that we get.
I am Turok.
So we're here to get collect the shredder, which is absolutely busted in the speedrun.
Oh yes, the primary weapon used. Also, what Chaos just did there, some of you may have missed it, but normally you are dead if you enter the green water at this point. It is actually just a river of, well, liquid poison that instantly kills Turok. For now, there is an upgrade, which we will get later, that allows us to survive in it. But what Chaos managed to do was perform a water hop on the toxic water, which is, I'm not sure if it's exactly frame perfect, but it's close to it. We have dubbed this little jump, stupid jump that he did, because it's seemingly pretty random if you die from it or not.
I got it first try. I always quick save right before performing that. It just, yeah, like Growth said, it would just randomly kill you.
Anyways, this is level 3. This level is known as the Death Marshes. It has quite an interesting soundtrack that you might get to hear why I call it that later. But the mission objectives for this level are very simple. You have to locate armories. Chaos is very fast and has actually already cleared one. They're usually locked behind, or well, not usually, they are locked behind iron doors where you have to shoot the padlocks to get into, and plant explosives inside, which are scattered across the level as well, that he needs to find. He needs to blow up a total of 3 of these armories before he can technically exit the level.
Portal activated.
And that portal we just activated, we're not going to go into the Oblivion portal yet. We're going to make a second trip to this later on when we backtrack. But we're just preparing for later on.
So right here you can see the Chaos is entering the second armory. These little sections were probably way more difficult in the original versions of the game. They act as mini mazes in here, and you have to go pretty deep into them and plant the explosives, and then you have to get out before they start exploding or you will die, which is slower for us, so we don't want that, but it's also very easy for us to find our way out, because movement in this version is just... it's just so easy to manage.
So here's our shredder. It's essentially an upgrade to the shotgun, and it sort of energizes our shells and causes them ricochet. And in earlier versions of this remaster, it was even more busted than it is now, because it used to bounce off of enemies.
Yep. Which is kind of fun for this category, because in this category we have to fight bosses. If you play any percent, you don't really fight any boss other than the final one, because they're not really required to beat the game. And in older versions of this game, or the remaster in particular, since the explosive shells bounce off enemies, you could have them bounce infinitely on bosses, pretty much instantly killing them. But that is no longer possible on the current patch that we play on, so bosses have a little bit more strategy to them.
You have found a sacred eagle feather.
So that jump right there is possible even in the original.
Portal.
You're expected to go all the way around to grab that feather, but careful. Walk off jump, you can get to it. And here's our first cutscene to collect the talisman.
Oh yeah, we never touched on that. So besides mission objectives and levels, Chaos will be finding talismans, which he will, or which will give him power-ups. This one, for example, will allow us to finally jump into the green water without dying. And to unlock these talismans, you need to find feathers that are hidden throughout the levels as well, and bring them to these little rooms that also look identical to the Oblivion Lair rooms. The original design is that they are supposed to trick the player. There's a total of 2 of these rooms per level. One of them is the Oblivion Lair, and one of them is the Talisman room. In game, it is explained that the Oblivion Lairs were purposefully set up like that to lure Turok into a trap to kill him.
Mm-hmm. There's all of our objectives completed. Now we just gotta go defend the totem.
Ammunition storage facility destroyed.
So we're supposed to kill these raptors on the other side of the fence, but the explosive shredder being as broken as it is, we just shoot the lead raptor and we'll get through.
You must save the totem, Turok.
All of these totem defense segments are always like this as well. You're just thrown into a little arena and you just have to kill things. They don't really change in any way except for the scenery itself within the level. Now this game is also very generous with ammo spawners. It will always give you the ammo that you are missing currently, so we're always trying to make sure that the only thing that we're using and have lost is in fact explosive shells when we go into
The
them.
Hive of the Mantids. Destroy 3 queen plasma rifle.
Okay,
Laser capability
Hive.
enabled.
This is
Force
probably
field
the
down.
hardest level in the game for a speedrunner. Well, even casually even as well. I'd
First
say.
try.
That was very, very sick. We've already done a bit of tech right there. So this level has a lot of power generators up all over the place that power up these doors that we can't pass through. Or I don't even know if we can consider them doors. It's more like plasma fields that are blocking our way. And what Chaos did at the start was he did a very cool trick shot with the Shredder, where he gets the explosive shot to bounce through a small little tunnel and hit a power generator in the room next to it.
Full health.
To open up the way, which saves quite a few seconds.
And credit to, I believe their name is MK Lucas, who found that setup. We used to do a wall shot before.
Here's another prime example of us finding one of these generators and destroying them, and then we're just going to perform a death warp to get back up. Otherwise, there's quite a long trek to get back to where we were. That involves waiting for an elevator and killing some enemies that are blocking our way. This is a great example of where hardcore is super different, because you can't do these death warps and you have to take the long route and kill very tough enemies on the way. Right now, do you want to explain this?
You go ahead.
So right here, we're manipulating this soldier bug to come up to us and melee us, because whenever Turok gets meleeed in this game, he gets knocked up into the air, just ever so slightly, and we can perform one of those mid-air jumps from that knockback. Normally in this room, you have to hit 4 switches to cause a little platform to go up and down so you can advance, but since that little knockback happens, or knock-up, we can just abuse the ledge grab mechanic and jump up, grab the ledge, and skip the entire room.
And there's a little bit of a meme within the Turok community. There was a runner of ours named Ale, and he was in the process of learning to speedrun this, and when he got to the growth's tutorial video explaining that part, he just had a very disgusted look on his face and looked towards the webcam and said, "Who found this?" And it's been a little inside joke ever since. We even have an emote for it. Oh, it gave me green shells.
Ah, that's bad luck.
Alright, I'm gonna hang out a second. It shouldn't take too long, hopefully. Give me the shell. There you are.
There we go. So this level in particular is very, very dependent on explosive shells and your way of managing them. If you're going for a good time in this game, this level is probably the one that matters the most. There is a specific little section coming up later in the level that requires you to have a good amount of explosive shells to do it perfectly, and it saves a lot of time, but it's very difficult to do so. You have to practically land every shot in here to have the proper amount of explosive shells when you get there.
I didn't want to waste one of my red shells on him.
This is also one of those levels where we won't be completing all of the mission objectives on our first visit. Which to some of everyone in the audience who might have played the original version of this game might think is a little strange, because in the N64 version, you couldn't actually leave levels before fully finishing them. The remaster introduced a mechanic with checkpoint stations that allows you to warp between all of the save stations, or the checkpoint stations that you found in the game. So we're only here for the talisman, the feather, and some other things, and then we'll come back here later, because you can't finish this level, at least not for 100% in one go.
You have found a sacred eagle feather. 5 lives
And another
remain.
death warp, and we're gonna go visit the shrine and get our. My mind is drawing a blank. The Whispers talisman.
Yes. So the Whispers Talisman will allow us to, well, basically float up in the air at specific points in the game. There's 2 talismans that practically give you the same effect, the Leap of Faith and the Whispers. They're just game mechanics that are blocking you, essentially, from advancing. You just need these to progress into the game.
Yeah, very much a Metroidvania kind of progression system. Okay, now I'm gonna have to really focus for this next part. We have what is called Super Cycle. May not mean anything to people watching, but something I really want to get.
Right. And you can tell that Chaos Ammo Management is very good right there because it got 2 spawns of explosive shells. Right now, he's going to do the Super Cycle, and this is where the red shells really matter. So first up, he's going to have to enter this room and kill 4 regular Manatee soldiers with 3 of the shells as soon as he sees them to trigger these soldier bugs to appear. He needs to kill both of these soldier bugs for this door to open up. And now he's on a strict timer to get to a little floaty path that he just jumped on. He just made it. That's awesome. And now he's gonna try and hit a force field generator.
I don't think we're gonna get it.
That might have not been it, but let's see.
No.
Just missed it. So he's trying to catch this cycle with this little elevator already being down here whenever he's done all of the things, but unfortunately the shot against the force field generator got a little messed up. But this is probably the hardest trick segment in the entire run. It was a pretty good attempt. The first room was done excellently. Now for this room, this is the large generator room. This is part of the mission objectives for this level, to destroy this thing. Also a very hard room to do quickly. He is trying to get the explosive shells to bounce on the ground up into very tiny segments of ceiling next to all of the generators, so that the bounce kills all of them off, so he only has to spend 4 shots, which I think you did there, right?
Yep.
That was very good.
And this is the bitrate tunnel.
Yeah.
It's like Fire Blue and Doom. It just melts your bitrate.
We're now at the final section of Hive. This is where the remaining objectives are, which is large alien embryo eggs that has to be destroyed, but we won't be destroying them all this during this visit to the Hive. Now we're just gonna go and unlock the save station to get out of here.
Yeah, we'll be destroying one of the embryos.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And then opening the way for the second one. The second one is very well hidden. There we go.
So normally those embryos are extremely tanky and takes a lot of firepower, but we just abuse the bounce aspect of the explosive shells to take them out very quickly by just shooting them directly down into the ground, similar to the large generator room, so it just bounces up and down completely. And it never actually hits an enemy, so the bounce never stops. Well, it does stop, but not after, or you get what I mean.
Greetings, Turok. How
So,
may I assist you?
we are visiting Adon. We're gonna stock up on ammo, then go back to the hub because we have that unlocked. That's why whenever I leave Portavadia, I'd step to the left for very briefly, just to unlock that checkpoint. Because if you don't, then you can't come back here.
Are as follows.
Now this is probably where a lot of OG players will be a little disappointed in the run, because normally here you get to ride a Triceratops. I think that's a Triceratops, right?
It's a cousin to the Triceratops. It starts with an S. I cannot remember what it's called.
Right, okay. It's a dinosaur you get to ride that has mounted guns on it. It has, I believe it is rockets? Rocket launchers? And normally you're supposed to go through this entire segment riding that and just killing everything in your way, but that's slow. We're not about slow here. And this is also one of the absolute scariest parts if you play this game on hardcore.
Oh yes, these mortars will one-shot you.
Yeah. Our
A bit
objective
overtuned.
here... Oh, sorry?
I was just saying, they're a bit overtuned on damage.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, our objectives.
Oh, yeah. So our objectives for this little run here that we, well, just now finished was just to kill off mortars that would trigger gates to open up for us. But the actual mission objectives in this one are a little bit odd in comparison to the rest of the game. We have to find some demons actually that control the undead and kill them off because they're bad to have around. We don't want them. I forgot if there is a secondary objective here.
The soul gates.
Oh yeah, the soul gates. Right. So the undead are traveling here through some portals known as soul gates. Very tanky things that just continuously spawn undead enemies. We're gonna find them though, and you're just gonna see how Chaos deals with them, because they're not gonna last for long.
So coming up is probably one of my favorite sections of the game. As a child, I thought it was so neat seeing these big golden statues animate, hearing them crank to life. It was just something on the N64 was pretty incredible for the time.
Full health.
So what the jump we just did there on the part of the bridge that is broken is not possible in the original version of the game, because you just move slower, really, in the N64 version compared to this. Normally you have to traverse a little tunnel filled with spiders that hurt and are creepy. We don't want them anywhere near us, so we just decided to jump over that little gap instead.
Now we're going to unlock another Oblivion portal. Take care of that one. Now they're supposed to get progressively harder, but since we're doing the levels out of order, and we do this level 4th in the speedrun, this one's going to seem really easy, because it's meant to be done second.
Yet another Oblivion layer. Here we can ignore some of the enemies. We're just gonna hit these two valves. This will open up some of the worst, because it reveals some enemies we actually do have to kill in order to progress.
I'm gonna wait for the second guy to come out, and yep, Scorpion launcher, that multiple missile salvo that it does. Excellent for taking out up to 3 enemies. Your aim is really good. I mean, the lockdown force helps, but you still need to aim in the general direction of them.
Now, this...
I had to at least try.
Yeah. So there's a trick there where you can jump from that ledge and ledge grab the bridge, but it is incredibly precise to even... it's so hard to get. I've never gotten it in a run ever, so...
I've to give you an idea, I'm the world record holder, and I never got it even once, even in practice. So I don't even go for it anymore.
coming up is the first soul gate that we have to kill. You can see the undead enemies here already throwing blood and chaos. We didn't even shoot at it, technically. We just bounced one of the explosive shells beneath it because it's just so perfect. There's just two flat surfaces to bounce the shell on, and the splash damage effect from the explosive shells is just enough to take out the soul gate. Right here, we're also going to do a little trick where we shoot through the floor to hit a little switch that is in a completely different room right beneath us. And we're going to open up the console here, not to put anything in it, but just to see a little message pop up that a door has been triggered. And once we see it, we know we hit it, and we can just keep on moving. This skips a little section coming up in a small little tunnel. Also worth noting that the only weapon actually capable of doing that is the Firestorm cannon for whatever. The projectiles just go through geometry.
Yeah, credit to runner Rifampin for discovering that. I believe, Growth, your response was, "Thanks, I hate it."
Yep.
At first it was awful because we just kind of had to guess, but then we realized that we could just open up the console and see information that is opened, and that made it not so bad.
That was a cool trick shot there. So we've come up to the first enemy that is part of the second mission objective, which is the Sisters, the demons controlling the undead. You didn't even get to see her because Chaos is too quick and just shot her as she spawned. But essentially what you have to do there is kill off 3 large undead enemies, which will open up the crypt and reveal the Sister of Despair. But she's so weak, especially on this difficulty setting, that one shot from the plasma rifle will just annihilate her and we can move on. Another thing to mention that you might have noticed at this level is that Chaos has been waiting by doors and hasn't done any quick saves or quick loads to bypass the collision box, and that is because the levels, or rather the maps in this level, are so huge that it would actually be a waste of time trying to do quick load and or quick save and quick load. The time it takes for the game to quick save or quick load is dependent on how much is in the map itself. And since there's so much, it would just take too long. You just get a freeze frame for several seconds. Not worth it.
I got all 3, nice.
Nice.
And I completely missed her. Yeah, that was a closer look at the Sister of Despair. That's the only one we actually get up close to. Just a grotesque floating torso.
Yep. Oh, coming up here is also a little bit of a sequence break. You're not really supposed to be able to make the jump that Chaos just did to get over there quickly. Normally you have to run around the map to get this little section, so we're kind of going in reverse right here. But since the movement speed is just greater in this version, you can make that easily.
Because compies are very annoying. I just shoot them and let the ricochet take care of them. They can potentially body block, and they're just obnoxious to listen to.
Your portal activated.
Alright, so we have officially entered, I guess, the final map of the level. Not really, because we have to visit a graveyard to take care of the last Sister of Despair before we're truly done here. But this is the map where we can find the remaining mission objectives, as well as any feather, talisman, etc.
Is he dead? Yeah, he is.
Shotgun.
Aim for the big zombie boys. Aim for that one. These two, the big zombies are called the Lords of the Dead. We don't need to kill these because all the gates have already opened, so we can leave these alone. But the next area, just beyond the gates, has 4 we gotta kill. There's the 4th one, and I should be able to get this one in one salvo. The other one's not poking around the corner.
Oh,
there you are.
bad luck. This is also partly why we do levels out of order, so we can have the Scorpion launcher for rooms like this. It just makes it so much easier for ammo management overall to have the late game weapons this early.
Very soon is probably the swaggiest shot in this speedrun. I absolutely love this shot. It's just so much style. But first we got to collect these graveyard keys. This guy is in a spot just standing just far enough away we can go in behind him and grab it. Or you have to worry about shooting him. And we'll just line up with the talisman pad. No way. I missed. I've been nailing that in all my practice runs, and I missed it for the event.
Well, it has to happen during a marathon, right?
Right, that marathon luck.
Now we just gotta go and take care of the last soul gate, and we're also just gonna collect the talisman as well as the Primogen key, which I also completely forgot to explain. Probably the most important objective in all of these levels are the keys that you find. Not only are they used to advance in the game, you can enter other levels. You need to find keys for each and every level. You also need to find in every level a hidden Primogen key. There's a total of 6 of them. They are the ones that unlocks the room to the final boss of the game, the Primogen.
Speaking of bosses, we'll be finally coming up against our first one for the next level at the end of Lair of the Blind Ones. And since we're on the PC soundtrack, I just have to note the song for the next level is the PC soundtrack's broken, so we're gonna hear it like just cut off randomly.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And here's our leap of faith. You are locked into this animation until you land, so you're on very low health, like say you're playing on hardcore, and you'll just end up getting killed there. Nothing you can do about it.
Primogen key found.
Also, fun fact to note about that, since you are locked into that animation, if you ledge grab somewhere onto one of those talisman pads that does the leap of faith, Turok just doesn't know where to fly and just stays hovering in the air where he is, and you can just move around in the air, but you can't ascend or descend at all. There's a section like that in the light ship where you can soft lock yourself when you do that.
We won't be soft locking ourselves up.
No.
Mission accomplished.
This is probably the worst of the totem defense maps because of just there's so many line of sight issues.
Alright, now time for everybody's favorite level, at least from the OG players. Everybody loved this level.
Alright, to start, we're gonna pull out our cerebral bore and pick an M out and this guy out because very rare it happened to Growth. Like once he was standing in this spot where we were about to land and he fell off and died. So since then, this kind of been a safety measure, make sure he gets killed. But yeah, that weapon in particular was inspired from an old horror movie called The Phantasm. The main antagonist, the tall man, had like telepath powers. He could control these metal spheres, and they had various effects like a laser beam or one that would drill into people's heads. And games like this and Blood 2 had their own. I almost fell off of that without grabbing it. But yeah. Thrubabori, a iconic weapon for this game.
One of the additions of the remaster really helps in this level in particular, especially there at the start where Chaos was walking through some very dark caves to activate some switches. You might have seen all these yellow, floaty exclamation marks around. That's a feature that was not part of the original Turok 2. They basically show you points of interest that you can interact with in one way or another, like switches. Really helps with not getting lost. Oh, did that make it? Oh, it did. Nice. So what Chaos just got there was a wall shot. He jumped at a particular spot that puts his gun outside of the geometry, which allows him to fire the shredder, so the explosive shell travels into a different room and triggers not one but two separate switches. That opens up a gate in the water. Normally you have to go into two separate tunnels to shoot the switches, but we skipped that entirely with that little trick shot.
Yeah, it saves an incredible amount of time. Alright, this rock falling section, another really awful part of playing on hardcore.
Oh yeah. It's like the Mortars, but light edition.
So we're triggering the bridge to fall and then coming back for the key. That's an animation we have to sit through?
Full health.
It's one of those quirks of the new patch. In previous patches, you didn't actually have to wait there at all. You could just grab the key and run. Anyways, Lair of the Blind Ones, our mission objectives here are very simple. We have to find, yet again, satchel charges, like we used in Death Marshes to blow up the armories. But here we have to use the explosives to, well, seal off the Blind Ones, these ogre-like creatures that we're facing here. We have to seal off their little tunnels. Very rude to do, considering this is their home, but what can you do? They're in our way, and we gotta go fast. There's a total of 3 of them.
You have found a sacred eagle feather.
Right. Coming up, the dolphin jump. So, let me show it first, and then I'll do my best to explain it. But I have a lineup for it, this dark spot right here. Quick save. Almost. Ledge grab. Okay, good.
Nice. Second try.
So, the way that works is you can, whenever you're swimming, you can press forward and kind of do this pump. You can essentially pump and move forward with a burst of speed. And when you're ascending out of the water, you can also, it will reset your jump. So essentially, you're like pumping in the water and jumping out of it at the same time, and you just get this lot of height, similar to how a dolphin would jump out of the water. And there's the first of the thermal vents, and we're gonna intentionally take a death.
5 lives
Quite
remain.
funny that we sealed a vent and then jumped down into it.
It's really amusing sometimes. One of the blind ones will follow us down in there and die. All right, everyone's favorite section.
Oof, yeah. I'm sure this evokes a lot of memories for anyone in the audience who might have played this. The original version of these tunnels are different. They are way more of a maze, and since the game is slower in general, both performance-wise and movement-wise, I'm sure a lot of people drowned down here. But we're not gonna drown here. We're gonna just do some smooth sailing and get all the objectives done that we need to down here. Also, I very much think that every FPS game that has underwater segments should have a torpedo launcher like this. It would be very helpful.
Yeah, we don't even bother swimming anymore. This just is so much faster overall.
Which brings us to the second vent chamber already.
We don't death warp here because it would actually lose its time. The portal's right there.
Oof, some nasty blocks.
So the Raptoids, for some reason, you play on a higher difficulty, they seem to do more damage underwater than anywhere else. Usually they're like one of the most harmless enemies, but underwater, their attacks hurt bad.
Yeah, if you're playing on hardcore and you get blocked by one of them, it can only take a second, and you might be even above 100 health, but you could very possibly die to them, just like that.
So this is the Fireborn. They're essentially like a reskin of the Entrail, but they're more like underground cavern, lava-dwelling variants.
Warp portal activated.
I think there's some underused in this game, but at least they got to shine a bit more in Turok 3.
Yep. We're gonna take our mine launcher and set up a trap for these guys that are gonna spawn. Alright.
That was very good. As you can see, there's a very common pattern within these Oblivion layers that they keep valves that you have to turn all over the place. This was really scary part. Just like that, as Chaos kills the last few flesh eaters, we get yet another nuke weapon.
Uh-oh.
Oh!
Alright, nobody look.
So as he exited that Oblivion
it would
layer,
take me forever to. It would take me forever to get back up there.
Yeah, no, you made the jump first try. Like, no, that's what happened.
Yes, that's what we'll go with.
Ooh, now we're down in the lava caves. We've already seen a bit of lava, but now we're gonna see something a little bit obnoxious about the lava. I'm not entirely sure exactly why it works the way it does, but normally you need a talisman power-up in order to walk through lava. But for whatever reason, we can just delay, or buffer rather, the death that comes from lava if you just keep jumping in it, and it won't kill you. However, if you mess that up and you die to the lava and you try the exact same thing, it doesn't work anymore. The lava will kill you instantly. No idea why that happens.
Basically, the Heart of Fire talisman sucks, you never need it, and yeah. And don't mess that up, or you'll never be able to recover.
This little jump that Chaos does right here actually skips a significant amount of movement in the level. Just that tiny little ledge grab. That's one thing also to consider with ledge grabs in this game. They absolutely broke many areas, so you can just skip many different sequences with them.
And I do a quick save, quick load there, not only for safety in case I miss the jump up, but also to remove, again, to remove collision like for this, and a couple other doors coming up.
This is where the Scorpion Launcher also shines, and you gotta kill these 3 entrails to open up the gateway.
Alright, the final thermal vent room. This one is very noisy. You know, the introductory video or cutscene of this level, in the lore, it talks about how they climb out of the thermal vents and kidnap people and drag them to their doom. I don't know how they ever manage to sneak up on people as they're sleeping. I can't imagine how.
Thermal vent field. 4 lives remaining.
Now we're nearing the end of this level. Not a whole lot left. But we will have to revisit this level later. Because unfortunately, since this is 100%, we need to get the talisman to walk in lava, even though it's, like Chaos said, very useless. It is also located at the very start of the level. Very mean one.
Ultra health.
Uh-oh, I didn't want to pick that up.
Save the totem, Turok.
You actually don't want to be at high health. I somehow got too close to that.
I think this is probably my least favorite totem. I never understood the swans in this one. This one feels completely different.
Mission accomplished.
Alright. Time for the first boss, which basically is a Eldritch old god.
Right.
They kill these little grubs. I think 15, or no, 12?
Yeah, it's 12 for the first cycle. And then it's 15.
Mm-hmm.
So there's technically 3 phases to this boss. This first phase, he's gonna have to shoot the tentacles that emerge. And then to start the second phase, he has to kill a certain amount of grubs here that seems to spawn randomly from the green goo. I at least haven't found any real consistency with it. And I believe this is the only time you actually get to see him use the flamethrower.
I prefer Namenwürfe. Some words are more fun in other languages. I prefer the German word for... Alright, it's not giving me explosive shells, so we're gonna have to use our Scorpion Launcher. Let's see if I can try to manipulate the spawns.
So those pods that he just shot up in the ceiling, those were the second phase, essentially, of the fight. They have a pretty funny glitch that can happen. They just shoot goo at you, but if you kill them on a specific frame, I believe it is as they are shooting their goo, they will just continuously shoot a stream of whatever projectile it is. And if you stand in it, you practically just instantly die. But that was that boss. I still find it very funny that the Lair of the Blind One's boss is a big eye.
The Primogen's light. Your mission objectives are as follows. Scorpion missile launcher.
Explosive shells were not very abundant for that fight, so we're going to be a little bit short. I may have to pick up some more in the main room there.
Right. This is, well, technically the final level of the game. Primogen's Light Ship is divided into 4 sectors. So 4 distinct areas where there's actually quite a lot to the mission objectives here. Chaos will have to find these small little blue crystals called ion capacitors. He needs to find a total of 4 of them per area, which are used to disable, I'm not sure what they're called. Do you remember?
They're basically like dumping the ship's radioactive waste into the River of Souls, and that's why it kills everything.
Yeah, exactly. So technically this level is responsible for level 2 entirely in this game, which is River of Souls.
Well, this entire ship is responsible for the Lost Lands creation.
Yeah, so this ship is entirely... you know, this is why Turok exists. So thank you, Primogen.
So yeah, you don't want that thing shooting you in the back. They're one of the more dangerous enemies on higher difficulties. But on easy, we're not going to worry about him too much. So we're going to complete the first of our objectives.
So Cash just puts in all of the power cells, which calibrates the power generation. He has to do this once per area. He also has to find some assembly plants that are just creating these biobot enemies within this level, and destroy them.
Ammo?
He could technically...
I'm gonna hang out a second, because I'm very low on ammo for this. There we are. Alright, we'll take that and go. Oh, I've already been that way. Doofus. That was Sector 1.
The developers were at least kind enough to color code the different sectors. So Sector 1 is red, and Sector 2 is blue, so you can at least tell when you're going the wrong way.
So yeah, the switches like that, we can just bump into them on the other side, and it'll still activate. Same with this one.
This room is quite funny because there's a lot of air vents by the lasers on the ground, and you're supposed to navigate like a little bit of a puzzle room there. And if you touch the lasers, they deal a lot of damage. But you can just use the very first air vent and completely bypass the entire room.
Even after like running this for nearly 4 years off and on, I still need my map for these sections.
Also, this is quite funny.
Yeah, so this Eye of Truth talisman, don't actually need it. The platform's still here, it's just moved out a bit further.
Yeah, so the talisman for the light ship that we normally find near the very end, it allows you to see hidden things, is the description. Basically, invisible bridges that block off progression in certain parts of the game. However, like Chaos stated, those bridges are actually there. Collision is there for them, so you can walk on them even if you don't have the talisman. However, if you don't have the talisman, some of the bridges are moved slightly, so you're not supposed to be able to accidentally jump on top of them and just figure out, oh, I don't need the talisman at all. No, technically, without the talisman, there is one bridge you can't really reach anyway, unless you are performing some heavy glitching. But that's not for this character.
Grenade launcher.
Now we're entering Sector 3. And Sector 3 has, well, let's just say a very evil set of vent tunnels that Chaos will have to traverse that has a very nasty little glitch that can happen in them if he's unlucky. Let's hope that does not happen.
Yeah, to give you an idea, I encountered it once in one of my, actually I was running 100% and I lost an entire minute, and since then I have always quick saved in the wind tunnel. This also has, Sector 3 also has one of the most difficult rooms in this level. It's very very particular platforming and ledge grabbing. So not this one, but the next one that ascends is where I'll have to quick save beforehand. And that is right here. They didn't get it good.
Cool.
Basically, you hit the side at a certain angle, and you clip through, and you're sent back like an entire minute, and it will kill your run.
Yeah, we don't have time for that. So after this little leap of faith, he's just gonna hit a switch here. Another thing I forgot to mention about the sectors, they all have a switch that leads to the entrance where the primary is locked behind them. This is the most difficult room probably in all of Light Shift. It's very tight movement to get this in one cycle. So Chaos hits the switch in the center, which unlocks this room, which has an iron capacitor and another switch, which opens up the room on the adjacent side of this. And there's a very tight timer going on from the moment it starts.
Oh.
Second switch. Oh, and that's what happens when there is just a little bit of error in your movement. It's very precise to get through all of these doors without them closing on you. And if it happens, well, you just have to stand there and wait for a moment.
Alright, what kind of cycle are we on in here? I'm gonna start this way.
Of Sector 3. We only have Sector 4 left. Which I'd argue is probably the easiest one of them all.
Sector 4 is also gonna have the Oblivion portal, which is definitely the hardest of all of them.
This is a little tricky jump that Chaos is going to try to do here. He's first going to position himself so he gets wedged into the wall. There is a little bit of an invisible barrier, otherwise you can just try and jump and ledge grab up there. But if you wedge yourself into the wall slightly, there is a visual indicator that you've done it correctly. Then you are able to actually jump up and just ledge grab without having to go through the entirety of the room.
Also, interesting little bit of trivia. This elite guard has no ranged attack. He will only try to melee you. We have no idea why. Right. Backtrack to here, and then I get our Eye of Truth talisman.
skeptics are pleased. As a reward, I grant
So far,
you
Lightship
the
has
Eye
been
of Truth
treating you pretty well with
talisman.
blocks, at
Now you
least.
may see things
Usually
that
this
were
is
once
where
invisible to you.
every enemy's just
Well.
out to block your movement, which costs you the most amount of time. And, well, pretty much every Turok speedrun, your biggest enemy of them all are just enemies, but not for the fact that they shoot you, just because they like to stand in the way and block your movement entirely.
Yeah, those little biobots, which are, they're funny to me because they just sound like a vacuum cleaner. They have a knockback in their melee attack, and it can be incredibly annoying. We just passed by the final, well, numerically the final Oblivion portal. We still have level 3 to go. Ah, there we go. So, all that shooting right there is because that enemy, that attack is broken. It was never fixed, and if he ever does that in hardcore, I really hope you quick save, because otherwise you are dead.
And that's all the mission objectives done for this level. Now we just gotta hit the final switch in here to unlock the primary key at the start. And then we'll head to the exit.
We're gonna take another death here to warp back. Lasers will kill us very quickly.
4 lives remaining.
Alright, another unskippable cutscene.
Your efforts are needed.
The very final Oblivion layer of the game, but not of the run.
Around you. For all your efforts.
The Titans will fall.
Your victory. Your failures. Order or chaos.
They all fuel the unquenchable fire of Oblivion.
Accept the inevitable.
Starts off with Chaos having to test it, turn some valves, but not before killing some of the enemies that act as triggers for the second section of this new layer. Yeah, this is the final one, right? So this one is a little bit more involved, but for us in a speedrun, it's very chill. The jump that Chaos did just there was definitely not intended, and definitely would not work without red valves. Although that door just lacks collision for whatever reason. It's supposed to be tied to the dude that is standing by it, but I guess he forgot to activate the defense mechanism. The same thing for that dude. They both should get fired immediately. They're very bad employees.
And you don't want to kill them anyway, because more enemies will just end up spawning.
Yeah.
You have found part of the new
Brings us to the end of this Oblivion layer, where we get another cutscene with Adon that we can skip, but she'll basically just tell us what we already know, that Oblivion is bad, and he's after us. And now it's time to head towards the exit.
I'm hovering around some low health, and this is intentional. There's, however, 3 unavoidable health pickups right here. Actually, I really want those. Oh, you want to be maxed out on explosive shells.
I am Turok!
Primogen key found.
Alright, now time for the next boss.
Grenade launcher. Scorpion missile launcher.
Probably the most difficult boss in the game. Feels very cheaty in some aspects. It can spam some moves that are very bad for us in terms of time. but overall should not be a problem. So this is another 3-phase fight. So Chaos will have to start off by shooting the arms for the first life bar. Sometimes hits don't register as they should on this boss, so some shots are just dead. Not sure what that happens. So this boss spawns the mites from the hive, and I'm not sure why that is either.
I don't know. The little green things are supposed to be infant flesh eaters, because this is the mother boss. She's the mother of all the flesh eaters.
So now phase 2 begins, and he grows those large tentacles that Chaos will now have to shoot in order to advance from the stage. She has a new move, like you just saw. She just hangs from the ceiling there and goes up, tries to swing at him, or goes up into, well, the ceiling and starts to spawn falling blocks. And what we don't want to happen is that she just spams that, because we can't actually hurt her while she's spawning the falling blocks at all.
And there we go, now for phase 3.
So for phase 3, she grows those, I guess, more tentacles on the back, and she's gonna be way more prone to just chase you and try to nail you, and also shoot some psionic waves at you. Best case scenario here is that she just follows you and does nothing, so you can just fire at her until she dies. She'll also spawn the falling rocks occasionally. This boss is generally a nightmare on hardcore if you are unlucky with what she does. The psionic attack, for example, can just completely one-shot you, and there's nothing you can do about it. He's being a little mean this time around. But,
Yeah, best advice I could give if you're trying to beat her on hardcore, stay far away. The scream attack will still hit you, but it will do less damage. There she goes, never to be seen again.
one of those weird little bits of lore just never explained. Because she doesn't show up in Turok 3 either.
Right, and now we're gonna backtrack, starting with Port of Vadia. Yeah, we have the Leap of Faith talisman. We can collect the first Primogen key.
How may I assist you?
To do a quick restock.
So one thing to note, take note of here, while Chaos does the backtrack for all the remaining things we're missing before we go fight the final boss, is that he wants to make sure that his health is relatively low. As low as he can get it without being in killing range until it's time. And that's because he wants to perform a death warp in death marches.
Primogen key found.
Alright, 51's still a bit high. We do have an Oblivion portal, and those guys in there tend to do a lot of damage, so it'll bring us down a little bit more.
Greetings, Turok. How may I assist you?
Death Marches 3. I'm gonna take that guy out because you can climb up to that ladder and he'll just backhand you and knock you back a bit, and it's really annoying.
And this is the Oblivion there that he unlocked while he was here the first time around, but since it's so early, he doesn't go back here anymore. That's why he didn't do anything
You have
while
found
he was
positive
here.
neutral.
Also, fun fact about this area is that if you have the fire talisman, which allows you to walk on lava, and you fall down into the pit, which has lava in it, you're just soft locked. You can't die, and you can't get out of it.
50, still very high. Alright, we're gonna be waiting for a bit. Hopefully they don't end fight. So yeah, that was the final piece, and so now we have all the we have assembled the nuke, and we will never touch it.
I am Turok!
It's so sad as well that it's so bad, because it's so cool. Aw, they started inside.
Yeah, this is why you want to be at low health, so that these juggernauts and that gunner can take you out quickly.
This will put us right by the spawn of the Oblivion player. Just one of those times where it's so cool where you see something like infighting, like in Doom. Like, if enemies in this game hit each other, they will actually just, you know, try to kill each other, but it's very detrimental for us when it does happen here, in particular.
Second trip to Hive. We gotta kill off the remaining embryos, and then blow up the master computer, and then we'll fight the queen boss. Same shred as before. Oh, it hit something. I don't want to waste any of my shots because we have a very tricky embryo shot coming up later, very soon.
Definitely the worst part about this category, if you ask me, is that one shot.
Luckily, though, we have a pretty good, consistent setup for it. So now I'm collecting these, yet again, satchel charges for the master computer. And I'm gonna quick save here, just in case, because I have had a run die because I slope jumped and fell off.
Right, so now Chaos is on the way to the final embryo, which requires him to line up a very precise shot through the wall right here to try and snipe a embryo that is many rooms away, very far away, and as you can see, it's blind.
Oh.
And he got it. That was very quick. And now he's just gonna move on to where the Primogen key is for this level before destroying the main computer and then fighting the boss.
A bit further clarification with that shot. I first start with green shells just to find the spot on the wall that's actually going through, because it's very precise about that. And then I'll change ammo to the explosive shells, and it will, same thing, go right through and then bounce around and... Oh, I'm supposed to go through that. It'll bounce around and blow up the remaining embryo.
This is another one of those rooms that are just super scary on hardcore.
Yeah, the turrets are probably the single most dangerous thing in the game.
Computer destroyed.
Now we're done with the hive. Now we're gonna go into the totem defense, which you can use the nuke for if you want.
You must save the totem, Turok.
I might as well. Just for the marathon. I'll show it.
Boom. Definitely slower to do it this way, but the nuke, it fires off an explosion that petrifies all enemies and then causes them to explode, similar to the shockwave weapon in Turok 1.
Mission accomplished.
Oh, I really need more grenades. Alright. We'll make do. Alright, the queen has an interesting strat. She comes out of... I don't know what this thing is, but Turok's just looking around like, where is she? Even though she walks right up to us. So what we want to do here is block her from getting back into that. Yeah,
so this is another multiple stage fight, technically. So Chaos has to kill all of those mites before he does anything to make her spawn. And once he damages her enough, she's gonna try her very best to climb back up from where she spawned. But since Chaos is standing in the way, she is, well, physically unable to actually do that and is forced into starting her next phase. Otherwise, if Chaos did not block her, he would have to kill more of these mites to get her to spawn again, and that would just take a long time. And then he never has to do it again. Now he just has to finish off the fight, which is kind of difficult sometimes because her hitbox is really wonky from time to time. So that was a very clean fight.
Now the only thing left to do is go back and collect that lousy Art of Fire talisman that nobody wants.
I do not know what they were thinking. We just put it at the starter level. The only reason they did this was to be mean. 100%.
Yeah, because you don't get the feather until much later.
Harpoon gun.
Harpoon gun, now we have all the weapons. They're not required for the category, but
Warp portal
yeah, it's there.
activated.
Well,
It's-
technically, you don't have a razor blade.
Oh, true, yes.
Your offering pleases the spirits. I grant you the Heart of Fire talisman. Now you may walk over seas of lava without...
To answer a comment, is that we do have Sunfire pods. They were picked up on the route as well, but they're not used. They're bad.
Completely broken in the original and not functional in the remaster.
Now Kaz just gotta backtrack his way up because it's the fastest way to get out. Since there's no checkpoint station that is close enough. And we have now met the criteria for 100%. All that remains right now is the final boss. Yeah, it's always good to do a little safety check.
Well, I never checked during runs, but you know, figured for the marathon, show everyone. All right, one last restock in ammo, and we are good to
How
go.
may I assist you? Ammo granted.
Hey, in growth, it didn't happen. Every door
Didn't
worked.
happen.
So yeah, there's a very rare glitch where the pedestals, namely the Primogen pedestals, it will not accept our keys even though you have them in your inventory. They'll just disappear, and you can't. You soft locked. There's no way. I would have like had to use no clip to go down there.
There he is, the culprit, the villain, the one responsible for Turok's, well, entire story, pretty much.
So there is a ridiculous amount of RNG in this fight. This will make or break a run. So, you want to explain the bombs?
Yep, sure. So, Primogen, as many other bosses in this game, is a multi-phase fight. And the very first element of luck are these bombs right here that he tosses at you from the ceiling. The amount of bombs he tosses is random. He will either throw 1, 2, or 3 of them. The less bombs he throws, the better, because it's faster. After he's tossed the bombs, he's gonna spawn some flying drones at you, which you have to kill. And as soon as they're dead, he's gonna jump down into the arena to fight you himself. So phase 1, you have to destroy the tendrils on his back. The most consistent strategy for this is actually to use the PFM layer and drop mines on the floor, and have him walk over them.
That was not good.
Explosion
He's too close.
should technically destroy the tendrils. The best case scenario here is a 2-cycle, which is what we got here. But as you could see on one of those mines there, it didn't actually hit the tendrils. That was just a positioning error. It is pretty precise, but not overly precise on what you have to do. He's then gonna fly back to his little DJ booth, and he's gonna rinse and repeat what he did at the very start of the fight. He's gonna toss bombs at Chaos, and we're hoping for as few bombs as possible.
Looks like 1.
That's very good luck.
Oh, that's like the best RNG. He's supposed to drop another set of bombs, and he dropped none. That's the best RNG.
Now for phase 2, you have to shoot his arms. First, you'll have to shoot... I believe it's random which arm highlights first. But you have to shoot the large arm and the small arm. This is probably the most consistent out of the different phases that you can get. You can manipulate him somewhat easily. But sometimes he unleashes, he does whatever he wants, because he's the Primogen. And like Chaos stated, he's just all down to luck, pretty much. And then it's back to the DJ booth to just spawn more bombs.
Got 2.
Just like before, he's gonna try to do it twice, while sending drones in between. So already we've lost time, because he did 2 bombs instead of 1. And then it's gonna be time.
That 1.
Oh,
good RNG.
Yeah, this is a good fight.
All right, time is on the final hit. We're gonna drop 3 mines.
Once these mines explode, it'll quickly be time, but we'll see. And time.
I'm gonna wait for this cutscene to play out.
It's so good. God, I love the sound design on that.
That is it for as my second run of the marathon. You'll see me again tomorrow for Kuldik. But yeah, that's it for Turok 2 100%. I'm absolutely thrilled that Shots Fired has let me run this game. All-time favorite childhood game, and this is the first time I've personally ever run it for a marathon. But yeah. Thank you again. Thank you, Growth, for co-commentating with me. Yeah, if you want to learn this game yourself, Growth has a guide out. Please, for the love of God, start with that category and do not do any percent. It is insanity. But yeah, if you want to follow me on Twitch, it's chaos_wolf. I run this game and several other FPS games. But yeah, Growth, you got any final words?
No, I'd just like to say thank you for having me. This is a very excellent run, and I'd like to say also thank you to the Turok community for making this run possible.
That's it for me. Thank you.
Dealt with it before.